Hello everyone, welcome to next session of SAP Solution Manager training. In this particular session, we will learn workload management. In general, workload management is an essential part of monitoring setup in Solution Manager because there we define planned downtime and the maintenance times. We also define business work modes like, for example, peak hours and non-peak hours. This specific workload management helps to adjust the alerting settings for the current situation. Meaning, in order to avoid any wrong alerts or false alerts, we need to maintain this one. Let's assume that we are going to monitor the system using Solution Manager. We configured alerts. However, we have a planned downtime in our SAP system or ERP system. So we also using Solution Manager to monitor the system, but at the same time we have a downtime, let's say for 3 or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours the system is not available, since the system which is monitoring the CRP system, that is our Solution Manager, will think there is a problem in the system. So it can create alerts, fault alerts based on our configuration. So it is important that we maintain all the planned downtime and the maintenance time in the Solution Manager so that the false alert cannot be generated. Moreover, we can also define planned downtime, since this planned downtime could also be informed to specific peoples or specific set of peoples, let's assume set of recipients. Since the workload management is quite important for our Solution Manager system. What is work mode management? The use of work mode management is basically to plan and execute the work modes for the technical components which are available in the Solution Manager. Meaning to say the technical system, database or technical scenario or instance, and it also could be a logout group. The activities such as, for example, patch updates or database maintenance or database upgrade or database patch upgrade or hardware maintenance or operating system maintenance or operating system patch update, configuration of some customizing changes, meaning to say some of the changes which you may make, like basic changes, some object being changed, then after the transport you need to do some manual changes in the productive systems. These could also be a scheduled task, or let's say it could be also a migration, data migration, or it could be also some other migrations. In the technical work mode management, which helps you to inform the users for the planned downtime and the maintenance window. Additionally, work mode management is used to define business work modes, which helps you to adopt the monitoring threshold to resolve some of the current system loads. You need to also remember we need to have additional roles if you wanted to use actually the workload management. The technical role which will be used for workload management is SAP underscore SM underscore DTM underscore all. Okay. So there are two types of technical work modes. One is planned downtime, another one is maintenance. So planned time is basically the system is technically down and you do not have access to it. Meaning to say the system administrator can use this work mode to perform planned administrative tasks that can only be done during the downtime. Second one is maintenance. Maintenance means the system is technically up and you have no access. Meaning to say, the system administrator or the basis administrator can use this work mode to perform planned administrative tasks that can only be performed during the maintenance period. Okay, meaning to say that technically the system needs to be up, but the user should not access the system. Next is business work modes. We have three different kind of business work modes. First one is peak business hours. The peak business hours system is technically up and running. All the user can access. Most of the users are logged into the system during this period. Or let's say we expect most of the users are using the system during this period. That is called peak business hours. The second one is non-peak business hour. Non-peak business hours. This time also the system is available for all the users. They can access it. However, we expect fewer users will log into the system and they will use the system. So the load of the system is not going to be high. In the peak hours, the load of the system is going to be very high. Then we come to the third one is non-business hours. In this, the third category also the system is up and running. Users can use the system. So we assume in this time most of the end users are not logged into the system. There is no load expected. Meaning, let's assume in the night time there is no user logged in. However, the system is available. You may have some another activities going on, maybe background jobs or something. So these hours are called non-business hours. The system is not for business. The system is available. However, there is no business transactions may happen from the users. So these are all called work mode management. Now let us see how to plan a downtime. We can access the work mode management using the Solution Manager Work Center, Technical Administration, where you have a tab called Work Mode Management. So when you go to Work Mode Management, you will be seeing all the technical systems, meaning technical systems, scenarios, host, database, or everything can be seen here. So you can select a specific component, whether it could be technical system or technical scenario, or select a specific ABAP system, depends on what we are going to configure or what the system we are going to plan the downtime. Then you select the specific system, then go to workload management. Either you can start embedded or you can start in a new window. Then this will take you to a new window where you will be able to see the component and the lowest hierarchy of the specific components also you will be able to see. From there you can select and say schedule work mode. This will take you to a new screen, or this will open a new session where we can define the work mode details, or where we can define the downtime details. Let us get into the system and see how to plan the downtime. So let's log into our SMG system. Go to Solution Manager Work Center. Go to Technical Administration, where we can see Work Mode Management. Here let us select our SMG system. Let's take example our SMG ABAP system. Then you go to Work Mode Management. Then you can start with embedded as well as new window. Let's start with embedded. Then we can see the systems which we have selected here. This is the work mode management screen. We can also see the ABAP system and the server instance inside, and as well as the instance in the specific server. Okay. Now we need to select the system. Let's say our server is under maintenance. You select the server. Then you say schedule work mode. This will take you to a new window where we can schedule the work mode. Here we can use a template. Let's say we can create templates and save it as a template. Then we can fill it up from the template. So here, let's say this is a planned downtime, or let's say peak hours and non-peak hours. The same thing which we have seen. Let's assume now what we are doing is a planned downtime. Let's say SolMan up, meaning SolMan upgrade. Then category, let's say software maintenance SAP. We can also have software maintenance operating system, database, let's say software maintenance SAP. Then we can specify the start date and end date as well as the time. Let's put a start date on 20th and the end date will be 21st. Then we can specify the time zone. Which time zone? Because since we specify the date and time, we also need to specify the time zone. Then a reason for work mode for the SP upgrade. Then business impact, let's say no impact. If you want to have any other comments, we can add other comments. We can also upload documents, or we can have a hyperlink to, if let's say you have that document saved in somewhere in the SharePoint or somewhere, then we can have a link. In general, if you use Solution Manager for your project planning, then we can upload the document here itself. So now we have created the work mode, then you simply save it. Now we have saved the work mode. Now we simply close this one. Now the work mode should have been created here. The work mode is not visible. Let's refresh it. Now you can see we have a work mode which is created. This is a planned downtime for Solution Manager upgrade. Okay. We can, if you want to edit, you can still edit, and you can also add new phases for this work mode. This is how to create a planned downtime. So let's go back. Now let us see how to create the notifications. Let's assume right now we created a planned downtime. So for this specific planned downtime, we need to notify the people. These are all the planned downtime we have scheduled. Okay. So let us see how to notify or how to create notification. So in order to create the notification, we can select the component and go to setup notification. This will open it in a new window, same like before, same like the previous step. It will open a new window where we can add recipients. Okay, so that notification will be added to the work mode which we have created. Okay, let's go to our system and see how to create notification. Let's go back to our system. So here in the component window, you simply say setup notification. This will open the new window. In the notification window, we have a lot of options here. First, let us see edit text template. Here we have template for email as well as template for SMS. So let's first see the template for email. This is quite interesting. We can modify the templates which you want to use. So we have two templates. We can have, or we can customize this template based on our requirement. So what kind of information you want to send to the user is always important. Okay, so this can be changed here. Here you can see keywords. These keywords basically taken from the inputs. These are all the variants which can be changed based on the notification which you are sending it out. For example, title, first name, last name. So these will be different from one user to another user. So using these variables, then you can change the text. So once you can see, we use this variable in the template, in the text, then this will be the actual message which will be sent out to the user. So like this, we have quite a lot of information here. This information we can use it in our template which you are going to create. And if you want to modify anything, we can still modify it here. Once everything is modified, you simply save it. So this will be the template which will be used for email. The next one is for the SMS. Oh, this is a template for SMS. SMS, of course, we have to keep it quite short and simple. So this is template. Next one is edit default schedule. The default schedule, basically we have different type of schedules. Let's say you can send notification to the recipient in different schedules. We can see it here. Notification schedule, first one is SMS. Notify before 0 days. That means on the same day, you will notify before 1 hour. So before 1 hour from the starting downtime, we are sending a SMS message to the recipients. Next is email, meaning before 1 day. So 1 day before, we will send an email to the recipients. So 1 day before, we will also send a SMS to the recipient. 3 days before also we send an email. And 5 days before also we send an email. So we are sending almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reminders to the recipients. This is going to be the planned downtime. This can be edited. Let's say if you don't want to have so many reminders, then we can delete it. Or if you want to add additional rows, also we can add it. You can change this date depending on your requirement. This is the default schedule. You can also change the schedule based on the recipients. We will come to that. Let's see how to add a recipient first. Let's say go to add recipient. Here we can define the system. Let's say SMG. Let's say our system is SMG, then client 001. You can define any systems here, meaning to say it does not mean that we selected a downtime for SMG system, so we cannot take the users from ECC systems. So these users are anyway coming from the notification manager from the global pool. So whatever the users you have in the global pool, then we can use it here. This is just a filtration. Okay. And moreover, all these users should have email, at least minimum email ID. Otherwise, we cannot add this user. We can also see it here. Let's try to add one of the user, our SMG admin. You can see the following user does not have email address and SMS address, so we cannot add it. Okay, this we also seen it previously, that you make sure the user master data in SU01 is properly maintained. So let's take another user. ECC, sorry, let's take SMG 001, apply, and I will take this user SolMan underscore PTC. Now you can see this user have a email address. That's the reason we are able to add this. After adding this user, then you can change the notification structure of specific users. Let's say you have a lot of users, but one specific user or some users you don't want to send so many reminders. So in that cases you can modify it. Okay, by default this will be the default one which we have sent. However, you select a specific user, then you can see the notifications. This can be modified. Okay, let's say go to edit schedule. I made the changes in the recipient list, it's fine. Now here we can make the changes. Let's try it once. Okay, so once we have made the changes, you can see the changes is made here. The SMS is sent on the 2 days before also. If you go to the default setting, the default setting is unchanged. So we can change for specific users. Now let's save this notification. Okay, this is already been saved. Okay, let's close it. Now if you go to the maintenance schedule which we have created, or the work mode which we have created, simply select the work mode. Then we should be able to see the notification which we have created. Okay, this is the maintenance mode or the work mode which we have created. Planned downtime. If you go to the notification management, here you can see the notification is already maintained based on what we have created. We can also add recipient from here. Okay, this is same. We can also add the same recipient from here. This is similar thing what we have done it before. Cancel, close. This is how we can create a notification. Next, let us see how we can monitor CCMS monitoring. Meaning to say, when you are using CCMS monitoring and the new monitoring alert infrastructure in SAP Solution Manager, you should create monitoring pause because we have a scheduled downtime. So during that time, when the system is down, how the CCMS should work. So if you go to the schedule which we have created, work mode schedule what we have created, there you will find a tab called CCMS monitoring setting, where we can define what kind of monitoring status should be, whether it's full monitoring or suppress alert monitor, but just suppress the alert, don't send any alerts, or it could be monitoring pause, don't monitor at all, just pause it till the end time and date. Okay, let's go to the system and see how this is going to work. Now here you go to schedule work mode. Here we don't have CCMS monitoring just because we are on the server level. Because CCMS works in the technical system in the SAP level, so we need to select in the hierarchy. So if you make a schedule for the ABAP hierarchy, then you will be able to see the CCMS monitor. Since we have created for the lower hierarchy, that's the reason the CCMS is not there. Here, if you create a work mode schedule, here you should be able to see a CCMS monitoring setting. This will be by default enabled. By default it is paused. Then you can change it as you require. So CCMS will behave based on that. If you put full monitoring, of course, it will monitor and it will also create alerts based on what we have configured in our alerts. Cancel this one. How we can configure the CCMS monitoring status. Next, we will see how to manage the business hours. So whenever we are creating a downtime, we need to manage the business hour, how we are going to manage the business hour. So in order to manage the business hour in the schedule itself, in the work mode schedule itself, you can enable if this is a recurring task. Let's assume that you have a maintenance window which is scheduled every month on a specific date, or let's say every week on a specific day, that you have a maintenance schedule which is scheduled. Then we don't need to repeat the same thing again. Then we can say it is recurring. Then there will be a tab which will be automatically coming, which will say scheduling, where we can specify whether it's a monthly task or a weekly task. Then you can also specify the day, which day we are going to use this one. Moreover, we can also use the calendar setting, the factory calendar as well as the holiday calendar, which is already exist in the system. So if you have a holiday calendar or a factory calendar, then it will make it more easy because we can schedule based on the calendar days. So let's go to the system. Let's open the schedule which we have created already. This is a schedule which we have created. If you say it's a recurrent process. Of course, solution manager upgrade cannot happen every time. Just to show that you can see it here, you can also select monthly or weekly. If you select monthly, then you can select what date you wanted to start, what date you wanted to start, as well as the day of the month, and you can also specify the start date time and the end time. If you select weekly, then you will be able to see all the days. Then you can specify which day you wanted to use. So if let's assume you wanted to use the factory calendar, let's say use calendar setting, then you will be able to see all the factory calendars here. Or let's say if you wanted to use the holiday calendar, then you can use the holiday calendar also. This is the way we can schedule for the recurring maintenance plans. Let's close this, go back to our presentation. Okay, with this we are coming to end of this particular session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.